Hi, friends.
Hello.
Welcome back to Talking Tannerness with Jenna and Curtis, where we talk ourselves into circles with the goal of making some... Whoa, I just butchered that. I don't know what I was saying. We talk ourselves into circles with the hopes of helping one person feel like they have a little bit more friends and less alone in this big, open, wide world.
It is a big, wide world.
Yeah.
Some may say it's round. Others may say it's flat.
We went through this last episode. Flat Earther is a theory, and it's been proven wrong time and a time again.
By flat earthers. I feel the need to specify that flat earthers have proven that the earth is not flat. And they've spent tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars to prove that the earth is flat, only to prove it's not flat. And I think it's hilarious.
Yes.
It is my absolute favorite thing ever.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, if you're here for any type of organized situation, just know that this is not it, and we don't recommend you taking any advice that we give.
Unless it's good advice.
Yeah.
Which, determine that at your own discretion.
Yeah. So, how was your week?
It's been a week. Nothing great's happened. It's just nothing great. It's been downhill. Jobs just don't want to hire me.
This is a terrible thing to say, but just know that going downhill, you'll always hit rock bottom.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Like eventually you will hit the bottom, and then there's only the place to go is up.
Yeah, I'd like to stay away from the bottom of the barrel. Thank you very much.
Fair.
How was your week? I'm not going to let you tell me I didn't ask you this time.
Good. I actually have some really exciting news. So
You're dating somebody.
No, absolutely not. I have a date that I'm moving out because I signed a lease.
Oh.
Yeah, so my last day in New Jersey is January 20th.
Oh. Something else happens that date.
I hope nothing else happens that date.
Something in my head is that date.
Well, let me know, because if it counteracts with that, I need to be in Charlotte.
I don't think it's anything involving you. In the nicest way possible.
It's like Martin Luther King Day, I think.
I have to type real quietly.
Why?
So that otherwise my keyboard gets picked up on my mic.
Oh, did you hear that last episode?
Oh, I heard every episode.
I think it makes it... Words are so hard today. I think it makes it feel a little more authentic.
I have no idea what happens on January 20th.
Well, that's the date I move out, and I surprise attacked everyone with it. Like, no one was expecting it, and I just, applied for this apartment, and I got it. And then it was a lot earlier than everyone was expecting, so we're all adjusting to it in the Johnson household. But
understandable.
Yeah, I'm excited. We also, so my parents can't go down that weekend, and I don't have a big enough car to fit the stuff that I have to bring, so I have to come home anyway, and I think I'm going to, try to rent a U-Haul or convince my parents into going with me. So I'll be home, a week after I move in to get my cat and my rugs and my dresser.
Makes sense.
And my bookcase stuff. But yeah, that's my big news this week, so... that's really just in the forefront of my brain on making sure that I do everything right so I can move out.
Good for you. In the vein of that, I was told this week by one of the kids that I used to coach who is dating another one of the kids that I used to coach. Actually, I think they're married. They eloped after she graduated. They bought a house.
Oh.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
Okay, but I've been looking at the prices of houses in central Pennsylvania, and you can get a crappy house for $170K and renovate it.
Yeah, but I don't think that... I mean, you could, but I don't know if there's anything that's worth that.
There is. I've been looking at them. I
guess not for me being single and having no idea what's going on with my life.
Yeah.
It doesn't make...
I was actually going to talk about this because So me moving out has thrown one of my friends into an existential crisis. And I had a feeling that you're going to overthink it and it's going to throw you into one too. So I wanted to do a little part of today on just talking about how it's on TikTok a lot too. So if you I don't know what to search on TikTok to find it, but if you get on the right side of TikTok, you'll hear a lot of people talking about this, but just know that there's no right point. I'm trying to think of how to word it, but there's no right point you're supposed to be in your life. So so you don't have just because one person is moving out or doing something big doesn't mean you have to be there. Everything's planned for you. Just know that. And yeah, that's my little spiel.
No,
Does that make sense?
No, it makes sense. I think from where I'm at, I've made peace with the fact that I'm nowhere on the same kind of time frame as anyone else in my life or around me. Um, for one reason or another, I'm having a completely different existential crisis right now. Um, it's the holidays, and the holidays always get people. So there's that one that happens every year.
You're not talking in complete sentences,
I know.
and I would like. No one's gonna be able to fill in the gaps. Are you talking about being single?
Yeah.
Okay.
That one, I don't
Anyone
know
that
what
asks
happened
you,
last night.
anyone that huh?
I said I don't know what happened last night. That one really hit me hard.
Last night?
I was just laying on the couch not wanting to go to bed, and that one just really hit me last night.
Oh well, freaking. Oh, explicit.
That's not a swear word.
Like if anyone comes and asks you, like, are you dating? When are you getting married? Yada yada yada. Tell them to respectfully fuck off.
There, now we have to put explicit.
Yeah, well, that deserves it. Like,
oh no, I'm not worried about that. It was
yeah,
1:30. I was laying on the couch by myself. Nobody said anything. It was just me.
Play back 30 seconds. I was like,
That's why I talked over you.
Yeah, I be comfortable with being like. Obviously, you're gonna be like, I've
no,
been
I
single
am.
for 25 years. You're not. You're
I
not
am.
comfortable with being single.
I just,
think
would
about,
like to not
You think
be.
about having a relationship and dating more than anybody I know.
I really don't.
Every conversation I have with you, it's about girls finding a girlfriend, why you can't get a girlfriend.
Oh yes, let me talk to you about video games that you don't care about.
Be comfortable with being single.
Yeah.
The moment you're comfortable with you, it's 10 times more attractive for a female when a guy is comfortable with where they're at and like comfortable with their growth as a person than if someone's chasing after a girlfriend.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm chasing. You can argue me on that one. I wouldn't say I'm chasing.
I don't think you're chasing, but I think you're and yes, I did just breathe really heavy into the mic and I saw it on my screen. I don't think you're chasing. I think you're yearning.
That's a good word.
Yeah. But just like, I don't know, stop thinking about wanting a girlfriend and think about everything you could do for yourself now.
I don't know what that is.
That's the issue.
Yeah, that's the issue that I have right now.
I do think that's part of the issue. And I think that's why you're having a really hard time finding... I'm like echoing through my room. I think that's why you're having a hard time finding a job and selecting a path, because I think you look ahead of you and you see... do you know that image that's like a dark woods and has like 3 different pathways?
Mm-hmm.
I think when you're thinking about your career, that's what you see, and you can't narrow in on which one you're trying to find, which is making your search 10 times harder, because it's like every day you're waking up with a new direction. I think you need to set out your 5-year plan and make your next step to align with that 5-year plan.
I'd like to have a 5-year plan, but at this point, my 5-year plan it depends on whether or not I can get a job in like an actual field that I want to work in.
You can, but I think if your 5-year plan, we've talked about it previous in the podcast. If your 5-year plan is buying your dad's business, and your dad says you need a job in sales before you he gives you the business, your next step has to be a job in sales.
Well, but I'm trying to get one there too, but I can't because I don't have the experience in it.
Then you need to look for the lower level.
I've been trying.
They'll hire Curtis. They hire people fresh out of college all the time in sales. You just have to apply for those roles. You can't apply for a role that says 10 years experience and expect to get it, especially in sales.
I don't apply to those ones. I specifically don't apply to those ones because I know I won't get it. Like, it's not like I'm going on. It's not like I'm searching for the top of the line, like every job. No, I'm semi-selective about what I apply to. Am I a little, less selective than someone who has the ability to, choose what job they want to do? Yeah, sure. But I'm not like, it has to be this job or like any job that's out there. I'm not like stupid.
Are you still determined to stay, like, live at home with your parents?
For a bit.
Have you looked at jobs down in like Harrisburg?
I have. I kind of have my radius like bigger, but at the same time, I don't want to move yet.
That's fair.
Like, I'd like to have a job before I think about moving somewhere.
Yeah, I just think I so I look at the like the job market news and all of that like a lot, and I think a lot of companies are pushing anti-remote, and I
No,
don't
I
know if you're
agree.
going to find a sales position that isn't for like your dad's company or something where you're at.
I mean,
Cuz sales are heavily focused in cities.
I think it depends on the sales. I mean, I've found one where I could have, and then they went with someone with more experience. Um,
Yeah.
so there's that one. But I mean, there was a sales job that I had interviewed for yesterday. It was a pyramid scheme, but even that one, I didn't get an offer from,
Yeah. It's just definitely
and that was door-to-door iPhone sales.
oh jeez.
But yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have much more of where I'm at other than moving out and attempting to figure out how to do things like an adult.
Ew,
Like
that sounds disgusting.
something that no one talks about. So I'm not taking my bed because I do plan on coming home, not often, but like enough.
Mm-hmm.
That I need a bed here, and I'd rather have it as a guest room here than bring it down with me. Like I'd rather just order into bed. Things that people don't talk about, like buying your first mattress. Like where do you get a mattress? And then when you get the mattress, when you don't have a box truck, how do you get it to an apartment? And how do I move it in by myself? And or like how do I pick out a couch? Like,
I mean,
how do you get Wi-Fi?
you go online.
Or like I have to work the second day I'm down there. How do I get
How
Wi-Fi
much
to work?
how much PTO do you have?
I don't know. I have to look at it, but I do want to. I don't want to take all of it, so I'm going to take the day. I move it on Monday, so I'm going to take that Monday, and I'll probably work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Luckily, my office is only 15 minutes away from my apartment, so that is very nice.
Yeah, that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah. So let's transition away from life updates because
They suck. We're
I
not good
just
at
feel
them.
like no, I feel like it's going to be kind of entertaining watching me, and I'm going to document it. Trust me, this is what we're going to pop off for because I'm going to document me moving out and attempting to figure out being completely on my own in a city where I know absolutely no one.
Well, it's not true. You know the people who work there.
Yeah, but they're like 50 plus. My boss is like, I think he's like 68. And
Yeah.
like, I love them and I loved being in the office with them and everything, but it's not like the type of where it's going to be like, hey, do you guys want to go out to dinner on a Friday night? Like, it's not that vibe.
Oh, no, I know.
So, we're definitely going to be learning about
But I'm sure if
social
you needed
environments.
something, they'd help you.
Oh, 100%. But transitioning away from that is something that I am getting sucked into in my, I don't want to say like autistic. It's just like, do you know how you have those like fixations that you like can't stop Googling and researching and
Yeah.
need, like I was going to say like autistic frenzies because that's what it kind of feels like. But the random indigenous islands around the globe that are
Completely isolated from human society, and then we fly a helicopter over them and they treat it like it's an alien. I love it.
it's mind-boggling, A, how many of them there are, B, that they're all over the Amazon rainforest,
Mm-hmm.
and how do they not... It is so bizarre to me that they just, like, essentially have no clue that we're here.
I mean, some of them do, and then they just refuse to interact with us.
They kill us.
Yeah.
You get on that island off of India, and they're like, I'm gonna take your head off and put it on a stick and then show it for the people on the boats off the shore. And ow, I just hiccup so hard. Yeah, it's like mind-boggling. And also, it's so like Western colonization vibes that like the people that go to these islands are like, I'm gonna bring Christianity to them. And it's like, okay, well, figure out how to communicate with them before you start teaching them about our God.
Well,
Right? Like, it's like mind-boggling that we're like this little island that has 20 people that most likely, if you even breathe the same air of them, you're going to get them sick because they literally have never experienced our germs. Oh, we're going to show them our God.
yeah.
Like, that's what we're going to do. We're not going to show them, like, I don't know, how to filter water properly or, like, how to cook food that's not raw meat. But, like, that sounds so, like,
Well, but obviously they know how to
terrible
do
for me,
that.
but,
They're
like,
still alive.
think about, like, I don't know. I just think it's so funny that we're just gonna bring Christianity to them, thinking that we're gonna do anything besides get yourself actually killed.
I mean, I still think we should bring back the Crusades.
What do you mean?
Nobody wants to go to war, but everybody would love to go on a crusade.
Isn't a crusade just like a war about religion?
Yeah, but like we should call them crusades and not war.
Oh, like bring back the term.
Yeah,
So
replace
like
war with
instead
crusade.
of like the Ukraine-Russian war, it's like the Ukraine-Russian crusade.
Yeah, it would be it would probably be the Russian crusade, but yeah, it would be a crusade.
Well, wouldn't you have to redefine what a crusade is?
Tomatoes, semantics,
Because it's
whatever
not
word
about
you want to
religion
use.
at that point. It's about just like war.
I mean, it's for a cause. I'm not saying it's a good cause. I'm just saying it's a cause.
Yeah.
I think people would be able to get behind crusades a lot easier than they would be able to get behind wars. And that's my, like...
I just don't think we should get behind war, period.
Well, I'm not saying we need to go to war, but if we need to go to war, you're going to get a lot more people behind a crusade than you're going to get behind a war.
Yeah, if
I
you
mean,
include
I'd fight
that
a
we're
crusade.
fighting for religion, everyone will sign up.
I'm not saying it's for religion. I'm saying it's for freedom. The
Yeah,
freedom
but
crusades.
the history of crusades is religion. And if you say we're having a crusade, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, we're fighting for Christianity? I'm in." The turnout will be crazy.
Well, I mean, if we want to teach indigenous people about Christianity, maybe they will.
I don't want to teach indigenous people Christianity. I want to leave them alone.
Study them.
I would study them from afar, like with an expensive camera and a helicopter. But I wouldn't get on that island. Like, I think they're cool. Like, I don't want to say they're cool, like they're an animal in a cage, but I think the idea that we have pockets of the world that were untouched by essentially Western culture, because let's be honest, that's what most of the world's in right now. Like, we are a heavy influence in culture. I think it's really cool that we don't know what language they speak, and we don't know how they cook, and we like there are in the Amazon, as I said, I've been doing a lot of research on this. In the Amazon, they've never seen children or elders. They've only seen what we assume is people in their late teens to like 30s, because they look young. So it's like we don't even know what their family lives are like. We don't know what their cultural standards are, how they treat their elders, how, if there are elders, do they still believe in like the Mayan practices of killing people off? Like all of these things are still unknown, and I think it's cool that we haven't tried to influence them in any way.
Yeah, I can see that.
Although it would be funny if we find out that like they have their own spies that like learn the English language, that like come out of the Amazon dressed as us, and they're just when we go and find them in the Amazon, they're just laughing at us because they're like, we can understand you and we know exactly what you're doing, but we're gonna act like we're indigenous people that don't speak your language just because we can. Like, how funny would that be?
I mean, I feel like that's just going down a huge rabbit hole.
Yeah, but that would be a haha. That would be like a haha. I just spilled water down the front of my shirt. Oh my gosh.
I don't know how to explain that one.
My brain is crazy. It's like a crazy place to be.
That's why I don't go there.
Fair.
I stay in my own. Not
Yeah,
a great place, but it's a place.
Yeah, we talked about I talked about last week that I was in Charlotte with all my friends. Well, when I was with all these friends back over the summer, we talked about like how our minds think and how I can like be in a conversation while also listening to another conversation and having my own stream of consciousness. And like at all times there's like 4 or 5 voices in my head, not in like a schizophrenic way, but just like everything is moving in circles. And when we were in Charlotte, my one friend was like, I truly would be exhausted if I was in your head. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, I don't understand how you could sit in a bar and listen to like 4 or 5 conversations around you while staring me in the eyes and having a conversation with me. Like, my brain would have me falling asleep. And I was like, it's actually pretty fun. Like,
I agree.
So much detail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
Yeah.
It's the only way I stay awake.
It's the only way I stay awake.
Well, I mean, if I'm just focused on one conversation, it happened in meetings at work. I'd be sitting there and I'd like be focusing on the meeting, and I'd just be like feeling my eyes getting heavy, like I was about to fall asleep. because I was just so bored.
Yeah.
You get a couple of things going on at the same time, and it's like, okay, I can pay attention over here instead.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So I have.
you have.
For anyone that's, I was gonna try to transition to something else, but I don't know what I was gonna transition to. For those of you that joined our book club, we have 2 new followers on book club, but I am in a book slump and I cannot get into this book for the life of me, Curtis.
I didn't think you would be able to.
I don't know what it is, and so I'm on Indigenous TikTok, I'm on Brandon Sanderson TikTok, and everyone says this is like the best book, and he is the best writer, and there's something about the way he writes that makes me feel like I'm reading a textbook.
You are in did you read past where you were last time?
Like 5 pages, and then I fall asleep.
You're just stuck in the explanation. Once you get the explanation world building out of the way, then it's all open. You just got to get everything. It's front loaded. Once you get the front loading done, then you get to the Sanderlanche, then you're fine. Sanderlanche is basically the climax of the book where everything comes together.
Yeah, I'm like, I just need more detail. Not even more detail. I need something more. And I also don't like being in her head. Like the girl's head, even though you're not in her head, you're like third person in her head type thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Omniscient third person.
One sec. I have to reassign this incident that pause.
You working?
Work never ends. The fact that she's like 16 makes me uncomfortable.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I don't have a reason for it. I just have, sorry, that's not important. I had a major incident that I respond to. Like, it's the same thing when I read my books. Like, even if I read a lot of romance novels on my, like, when I'm in a book slump, romance novels will get me out. And I haven't gotten that far, so that means the book slump's not that bad. But if I'm reading a romance novel and, like, the characters are based in college, I can't do that either. I feel like there's some kind of, like, it makes me feel icky. That's the only way to put it. Like, I'm like, she's 16. And I know it's a fantasy, and, like, 16 could be not the 16 I'm thinking about. But, like, reading about a 16-year-old, I'm like, well, I'm not making sense, am I?
No, I wouldn't say that I'm getting any sense here.
I feel like...
I mean, I kind of understand what you're saying, but I don't think the way you're explaining it's great.
Like, she's 16. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like I have no other reason that I reading about a teenager, like, weirds me out. But it also might be because I'm so used to the romance category where, like, if you're reading about someone that's 19 in a romance category, like, it is icky. And I need to get out of the mindset of, like, this isn't a romance book. This is sci-fi. And, like, she's not going to be canoodling with anyone and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, you're not reading about...
Well, look, I did look it up because I wasn't 100% sure. By the end of the first 3 books, she's in her early 20s.
What is the timeline of this book? I'm a quarter of the way through, and it's
first 3 books.
It's been 3 days.
Yeah, I'm saying the first 3 books. Not the first book.
So what is the gap? Is she 16 at the end of the first book? For those that aren't listening, we're reading Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, and I am 60-something pages into the first book.
Mistborn timeline.
There has to be a major gap between books if...
It's 2 years. So the first book is in 1022 of the Final Empire, and the second book is in 1024 of the Final Empire, and then the third book takes place at 1025 of the Final Empire.
Oh.
And I really think you just need to get through this beginning part, because I will give you, the beginning of his books are very slow, because he front loads all of the information so that after that, you're not learning everything. I will give you that he front loads everything.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm reading a textbook.
I think once you get through the front loading, I think you'll be fine.
I'll keep going.
It doesn't sound like you're going to.
No, I will. I have to finish it. I bought the 3 of them.
You did. And I think once you get through the 3, you may want to read the next 3, which is completely fine. Or 4, the next 4.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time.
I don't know. I think, like I said, I think once you get through this, the first like maybe quarter of the book, that's when most of the exposition will stop, and then it's just kind of building from there. I think that's really just because I'll admit his other books, the Stormlight Archive, it took me a little bit to get into the first one, but I just kind of trusted it at
I
that
saw
point.
the size of the new book that he released.
Knights of
And
Wind and Truth.
I don't even think it's worth it.
Oh, it's so
I'm
worth
like,
it. It's
I don't think
so
so.
worth it.
For those listening, the book is like put your hand flat on a table, and the size of your hand is how big the book is. Oh my god, that hurt my chest so bad. If you heard that hiccup. No book is worth that time.
Okay, so here's the thing about the Stormlight Archives. Within it, it's basically 3 books, and each of those books follows like 4 different characters. So you have probably 8 different stories going on, not 8, like 6 different stories going on within that full book at a time.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're following one person for 1,400 pages. You're following 5 or 6 different people who all have a story that comes together.
I still don't know if it's worth it.
I'm telling you, it is so worth it that I am willing to reread it.
I don't know if I'll make it that far. I have a lot of books that I need to read. I want to start reading classics. I want to start going back and reading classics book that I've never read before, that everyone else besides our generation can quote, and they're moving and they change times, and like we didn't read them because they got freaking banned from our schools.
Which book?
Like there's a huge list. Have you read Fahrenheit 451?
Yes.
How?
We read it in school.
Nope, that was banned from my school. Did you read Wuthering Heights?
No.
Did you read The Jungle? It's with the meatpacking industry.
No.
Did you read Catcher in the Rye?
Yes, but no.
Yeah.
Yes, we technically read it, but I didn't read it.
I've also never read Moby Dick. Or what is the book? Oh my god, it's on my shelf. 1984. I've never read that one either.
Well, I read that one.
I also messed up my education because I did in high school. I did not mess it up. That sounds so bad, but like I did English 2 honors my sophomore year, and then I jumped to AP Lit. So all of the books that you're supposed to read your junior year, like all of these monumental books in history, I didn't read. Like I didn't read Midsummer Night's Dream, the Shakespeare novel. I didn't read that. And then my senior year I did AP Lit, so I didn't like. There's so many books that I just skipped over.
I don't remember if I read that or not.
Midsummer Night's Dream is about like fairies, if I'm not mistaken. I just messed up and got more water on me. Yeah.
I don't think I read that one.
Yeah. I'm patiently waiting for when I have the mental capacity to read these books are like 180 pages, but they're chocked full of words. So I'm like, I need the mental capacity to read it sentence by sentence and not speed read.
Yeah. I don't know. They just don't appeal to me. Like, I get what you're saying about them being classics, fully developed. But I don't think in 3 months I'm going to 2 months I'm going to change my mind on that one.
Yeah, I also think it's like it's I don't know. Some people like don't care to read those things, but like for me, I think I've always thought about reading them and I've always wanted to read them, but I've never had the time. Mm-hmm. So now I feel like I have the time and I have the resources where I can buy them, and I feel like I don't know. It's important to know the important parts of our history, and I think books tell a lot of stories, and even books that aren't necessarily like you're gonna look back at books from I don't know that were written in 2000 and be like, wow, this is more than a story. This was telling a time like about the time that was happening, and we just didn't know. Like I think like Pride and Prejudice is the best example for when people were reading it back in, I don't know, 18 something or 1910. I don't know when it was published. I think it was like 1860s. Everyone thought it was just a book about a girl trying to find love, and now you read it back now and you're like, it was critiquing women's rights at that time. It's like one of the most empowering books, or one of the most well-known women's books out there right now.
Yeah. I mean, like,
you can't tell I'm a Pride and Prejudice fan.
That's one that I haven't read. That I also kind of like.
I've listened to the book like 3 times. I haven't actually sat down and read the book because I've listened to it 3 times, and it's my number 1 watched movie ever. It's like my guilty pleasure movie. So I'm like, if I sit down and read it, I already know what's coming up.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What am I even thinking? I don't know. I go back to books that mean a lot to me, and Mistborn and the Stormlight Archives mean a lot to me. Like, they're the only books that I've actually, like, taken quotes from, and I keep them, like, in a note, in, like, a note on my phone. Like, it's the only books that I've ever done that for. I mean, like, they mean a lot to me in that aspect, and I don't think there's a lot of books like that for me. Not to try to sell you on finishing them, but that's my little sell.
Yeah, that's fair.
Hold on.
I have one book like that. One book I've ever read that's like that. And it's the 5th book in a series. So you have to, and it's the 5th book and the longest book. But you'll never read the series because it's fairy smut. I think your mom just walked into your room. Yeah, I'm definitely talking to myself, so I'm going to let my cat in.
Sorry.
I was right.
Kind of. My dad walked down. He had to put hot dogs down here.
Oh. I was saying that I have one book like that, and it's the 5th book in a series, and it's the longest book. But what makes that book, like, if someone comes to me and says, "What's your favorite book you've ever read?" I'm gonna say A Court of Silver Flame in the ACOTAR series, but it's because of the main character. The author says it was the hardest book she's ever had to write, because the main character goes. You watch in the first 3 books are about her younger sister. The 4th book is a novella, and then the 5th book is about her. And in the first 3 books, you come to hate her character for how she treats people, and then when her book comes, you get like into her mental state, and you're essentially thinking in her brain, and she's like the mental triumphs that she's going through. All of that, like halfway through the book, I was sobbing my eyes out. You experience her mental breakdown. You watch her, like, every choice she makes and why she's thinking that way, and like eventually you see how she overcomes it. But it's the best book that I've ever read. Yeah,
I mean, I get that.
But I also said you would. Go back 2 minutes.
No, I know.
You would never read it because it is indeed just fairy smut.
Yeah, I'm glad you at least admit it's smut.
The guy I work with read it. He read all of the books that I've read, like Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, ACOTAR. He's listened to all of them because his wife loves them, except he skips through the smut scenes. So it was the biggest joke because he would listen to it on the way to work. So it would take him like 3 weeks to listen to a book because his commute was 15 minutes. And he would be like, I spent my whole commute this morning clicking because every time I let it play, it was like, and he.
Yeah, that's my hesitation with reading any of those books.
You just skip.
Yeah, that's
like
just
the reality
seems like
is
a lot
none
of
of those
work.
scenes are important.
If they were important, they wouldn't be smut.
No, because some books have like the smut scenes are super duper important. Like I firmly believer in that. Like some of the books that I read, like
interesting.
The smut scenes, like the way they write them, it like makes the connection between the two characters. But honestly, if we got to the point that you were like, okay, you've read all of the Mistborn books, it's been 6 months and you've completed the whole series.
If it takes you 6 months to read all of the Mistborn books, there's a problem.
It's taken me a month to read the first one, but also to be fair, I haven't had a lot of time.
You also haven't been home.
And next month I'm gonna be moving out, so I'm gonna have a lot of time on my hands, just like by myself, not entertaining people and like hanging out with my parents. So I'll probably have a lot more time to goof off and read. But if we got to a point that you were like, okay, I'll take a chance at ACOTAR, the first book has no smut in it, not at all, and I would highlight the parts, like I would say buy the books. I'll highlight the sections you don't read, so you know they're coming up and you can skip to the end of it.
I mean, I feel like I'll just do what he does and listen to them. I like
Do
a
you
good
listen to a lot
audiobook.
of books? We're also at 41 minutes, so we might want to
I
start
do.
wrapping up. But do you listen to a lot of audiobooks?
I do. Like I was re-listening
Do you
to
have Audible?
Mr. Bourne. I don't, because I don't pay for subscriptions.
Fair. I'm
I
canceling
have
a lot of
the
mine.
I have the
I canceled my
website up.
Kindle Unlimited.
I canceled that after I got back from after, like, before my free trial ran out, because it just wasn't worth it. I have the website up for the Mistborn audiobook, but
Okay.
I very much like a specific kind of audiobook. I like the graphic audio, which has a bunch of different people in it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you do on your way down. I send you the audiobook to listen to. You're going to be driving a lot. It'd be a great way to, make up some ground.
Yeah, I think that could work. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think about how long the book is.
The book is... I can tell you how many hours. I think each one of these is 112. It's about an hour each one. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 19 hours? Yeah, it's about 19 hours. I do have one other question for you as you've been reading this. Do you read the little things at the top of each chapter?
Yeah.
You do? Okay.
Yeah, I have to. That's like that's how the story of what's it called was told. One of the books that I read. That's how the story was told.
Oh, okay. Those are important in, I think, every book. I know Stormlight has them. They're hit or miss with importance in that, depending on the section, the type that it is. Mistborn, they're important. I don't think Elantris has them. I know, what's it called? I have to pull up my list because I can't think of the name. I can never think of the name of this book. Warbreaker. Warbreaker doesn't have them. And maybe if you can't get into Mistborn, maybe we move to Warbreaker. I think Warbreaker is much more your book. It's where I would have said to start if you didn't want to start with, if you weren't insisting on starting with Mistborn, because I think it's much more your style of book.
No, I started Mistborn, so I gotta get to
I
it.
know.
I can't DNF the #1 book in the fantasy world.
What
That
if I
looks
tell you
so
that there's...
bad.
What if I tell you something that's in the book to get you more interested in it?
No. Tell me how the book... And no, I can't do that. We're going to wrap up here, and then you're going to spoil the ending of the book so I can actually get interested in it. Thank you for listening. You're not
Okay.
going to spoil it you're not going to spoil it on the podcast. And we're already at 45 minutes.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
But I need the end of the book spoiled.
Okay.
I'm psychotic. Okay. If this tells you anything, I'm the type of person that's gonna. Also, I went mute there for a second because one of the people that I follow on TikTok just went live, and it's just a picture of a screen, and it's playing like a sound that says it's gonna be gone for a while. And I was trying to figure out what the hell is going on. But I'm one of those people that I'll read the last chapter of a book before, like when I start the book, so that I know how it ends.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, and
That's
I hate
also,
that.
I think, what's the hard part about Mistborn for me is because I'm like, I have no clue what this book's about.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm meeting all these characters, and I'm like, it feels like there's going to be a revolution.
So you are. Have you? We'll talk after we end this. Because you are so close to getting the point where they explained what the purpose of the book is and what the whole story is. You just gotta read a little bit more.
I need to know it at the start. Like, I need to know.
It's at the start. You just stopped right before it. I'll tell you exactly what the plot of the story is once we end here.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning into the chaos yet again, and please subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, and then follow us on Instagram at Talking Tandomness.
And YouTube.
Yeah, and YouTube. Yeah, that too.
And I will now
thank you.
break the #1 rule and spoil a book.